Vshojo, I want you to understand one thing about me as a small content creator, as someone who has struggled to reach to the top just like everybody else. I never liked you. The moment that you were first born, I knew something was wrong, something was up. And I know what you all gonna say. Oh, but would you said that we shouldn't be seeking revenge? Vshojo is dead. They're dead. You hear me? So it doesn't matter if I stomp on its grave. See, you can stomp on the grave of a company that was a piece of shit to begin with. You are not allowed to do that to an actual human being. Know the difference. Warning, this stream is going to get a little crude. I'm going to say some words and I'm not going to be apologetic towards it. And I don't really care who doesn't like what I say. And TikTok, I hope you're listening. Because all of these folks now speaking up about Vshojo and saying, oh, they didn't know. And let me tell you something, just from personal experience, as someone who is in their 30s. They know. You want to know how I know? Because every company has the following branches. They have a CEO, a COO, a CFO, a CTO, you name it. Somebody's always watching the money. Somebody's always watching what the streamers are doing. They always have a terms of service. There's always rules, guidelines, and consequences if set terms of service is violated. Before I give Vshojo this work, all right, let me go ahead and we're just gonna go on the website and I'm gonna go ahead and just look up who this company is. They were founded in 2020 as the first major VTuber agency fully based in North America. Vshojo builds itself as talent first agency oriented towards providing resources such as models, merchandising, and advertising opportunities to its talent. Uh-huh. Their main goal was to compete with Hololive. That's it. Talent first, my ass. Let me tell you something. When you join an agency, any agency of any kind, it is never talent first. It's company first. It's the top 10 first. If you try to join alongside putting all that work and whatnot, you have to work a lot harder just to prove that you are worthy of the top 10. And when you become the top 10, guess what? And if you have friends that work for the same agency as you, you're going to be toppling down. You want to know how I know? Because I've been a part of these groups before. Not Vshojo, thank goodness. Because if I was a part of this shitty company, I would just quit streaming forever. I'm not even joking. If I found out about this, I'd be like, nah, I'm done. I'm quitting streaming forever. Because there was a time where I actually wanted to be a part of Vshojo, where I actually wanted to be a part of Hololive. You know, to help spread the word for, for those who are of different ethnicities, including black, who are the minority and Mexican and Indian, spread the word. Say, hey, come on in, man. Let's spread more about our culture. This is awesome. They're very diverse. This is great. This is different. See, back in the day, right, with the whole VTubing craze, it started back in, I would say, around when it came to North America. When COVID hit. 2021. That's when everyone wanted to be like a VTuber or a streamer and whatnot, just so they can, have a little side hustle, make a little money, pay their bills, or for some folks, it actually helps save their life, help them get an extra kidney or get a heart transplant. You name it, you got. There's a lot of success stories when it comes to those who were in the VTuber community. And with every success story, there's always going to be drama. There's always going to be something that is just going to destroy and ruin the fun for everybody else. Have you ever wondered why certain streamers, furry, brony, don't matter? They're all happy when they first start. And then once you start hearing about money's getting cut, certain VTubers retiring, drama, pedophilia-like accusations, then all of a sudden, the views from a lot of these streamers go from 100,000 to 10,000 to 10,000 to 400. See, the thing about being successful quickly is you rise high enough and then you fall hard. Ain't that right, Mr. Terry Boella? No disrespect to you, but man, you're next when it comes to my next stream. Still love you. Prayers for the family. But nah, we gotta talk. And it will be directed towards his family, not towards, well, he's dead, so he can't really hear me. Actually, technically, spirits can hear you, but we're not going to get into all that. Anywho, so you already know the situation. You already know what happened. You already know about how they, how the company pretty much, what is it? Oh, it turns out that money's missing. If you ever hear a company talking about money is missing, no, it's just that, we got caught. We need to pack our bags and get up out of here. It happens all the time with these big corporations. Because you see, the intention was never for the streamers. The intention was to make money. Because nobody knew who was going to survive the COVID-19 SARS-32 epidemic. Nico Faye, welcome to my realm. Nobody knew what was actually going to happen. So they just figured, let's find an agency, let's find the most gullible individuals who will join us and just give us money, give us entertainment, so we could not only just spread it around, so we could make money all over. Zen, welcome to my realm. That was the whole point of Vshojo. To anyone that thought that Vshojo was for you, well, I'm gonna let you do your own research when it comes to how many people were actually a part of Vshojo, how many people were rejected from Vshojo. And Hololive, I'm watching you because I don't like you either. I don't like you either. And I know there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna pop in and be like, I don't like what he's talking about. You can come, like, share, and leave. Because I'm not worried about who likes me, who doesn't like me, because there's anything that I've learned from a lot of these folks that passed away just this week and how y'all acted, towards the immortal Hulk Hogan, Turbo Ella, which understandable. It just constantly reminds me to just live my own life, because no matter what, people are still gonna hate you regardless. So I might as well just do and live how I please, just as long as I don't step on the wrong toes and just as long as I don't disrespect people. Now, before you leave, I hope you understood that. Live your life how you want. Just don't be disrespecting the wrong people. Just don't be disrespecting people in general. Now, I think it's time for me to explain why I absolutely despise, always hated Vshojo from its inception, from all these streams that kept rising up, from all the fan art that they were receiving. Because it's something that someone once said when it came to Terry Boella's death. When it comes to the death of Vshojo, right? People are mourning a myth. You're mourning a myth. You're mourning something that's not even real. And that is scary. Ozzy Osbourne was real. Real musician, made his mistakes, apologized for it, redeemed himself, up in the heavens. Pretty simple, right? Well, not simple, because there's a lot of trials, tribulations you had to go through. Then you got pieces of garbage within set agencies, right? Who claim to be good people, who are just laundering money, right? They won't tell you this. And then as soon as, someone decides to rat them out, now they want to act like, we're the good guys, we're this. When you join these folks' discords, I would love to hear about y'all experience with these folks, because let me tell you something. When I was part of Iron Mouse Discord server, I didn't feel welcome. I didn't feel loved. I felt like I was in a prison. Like, and oh my goodness, when it came to how that one of the mods treated me, unreal. Unreal how they treat me. They didn't treat me like a person. They treated me like I was a criminal. I will never forget it. This happened back in what, 2022, when I was just starting up, and all I wanted to do was just meet her, talk to her one time, maybe have one interview with her, and that was it. And I would have left her alone. Nah, she was too good for that. Nah, they had to protect these streamers. They had to treat them like they were larger than life. Sounds familiar, Terry Boella? You know, these larger than life characters. And then as soon as the agency, the castle that they were pretty much around, falls and crumbles, then they want to start acting all humble like, oh my goodness, oh my god. I get so sick and tired of that. But it's fine. Because to me, it's funny. I don't even get mad about it anymore because every time when I deal with pieces of garbage, right, who treat me like dirt, I ain't talking about the streamers, I'm talking about their mods. I could just sit back, smoke my pack, and be like, good riddance. This is what you call karma. You understand me? Because this isn't the first time that, you know, these folks, the little streamers, mods, treated people like absolute shit, got away with it, and then think, oh, we're just these big top dogs. Look at all this money we're making. We're going to get away with this. And then as soon as your precious little CEO goes scurrying around, let's just be real. Oh, he apologized and whatnot, but he ran off with some of that money. Oh yeah, he did. Because companies do it all the time. When they get caught in a scandal, they get sued. They had to pay off all this money, but they still have some money left. They ain't stupid. They ain't gonna tell you everything. Oh well, you see, we understand that we are supposed to support this charity, but we use most of the money to help build these V2. Oh, of course you did. I always found it suspicious how Iron Mouse had all of these different types of VTuber models and everything else. I was just like, and everyone else is just kind of like passing on. Now, let me tell you something. This is not me roasting or disrespecting any of the streamers, okay? All right. My heart goes out to all of them, especially the ones who work their ass off, you know, in that agency. You know, just hey, it feels good to feel like you make it big time. You know what I mean? You know, you get money and stuff, you getting the fame. You know, you got folks that are pretty much praising you. It's a good feeling, right? I'm pretty sure Terry Boella felt that way, you know, getting all that fame and all that glory, everyone's screaming. But when it all comes crashing down, who do you go back to the most? And I'm kind of laughing on the inside because a lot of my friends, furries, bronies, and even those that don't even associate with those two groups, praise these people like they were gods, and it made me sick to my stomach. Kind of reminds me what people did with Mr. Bubbles, all the furry streamers. Oh, they praised that man, they praised him, and now it's someone else. It never ceases to amaze me, right? How people are not allowed to have certain streams like this to speak up and speak up about it. I think people should, as long as it's not in a disrespectful manner. You know, the reason why it makes me sick is because they never let they never give these people time to be human. And then the moment they make a mistake, there's exposure videos. They're burying them under the ground. Oh, they're a piece of shit. They're awful people. But when the company crumbles, then they all scurry and run. Just like you all are scurrying and running because you don't want to hear the truth. You want to be entertained. And that's what Vshojo and Hololive did. And that's why I can't stand them. Because they never create a culture about introducing you to diversity, into, you know, to new ways of how to VTube. They wanted to assimilate. They wanted to pretty much, in a roundabout way, if you want to be successful, you got to be like us. You know, part of their little stupid clique. Oh, you got to be like us. You got to pay thousands of dollars for a VTuber model. You got to have this banner art. And I would just look at my friends, look at these people like, you're doing all of this. You're paying $1,000 for a model. And you're barely even hitting 1,000 views. And your so-called friends, right? Your so-called friends, right? That used to come to your streams and that would like and give you subs and whatnot, they would go to these same streamers, these Vshojo streamers, and give them hundreds of dollars, right? When they could be giving that money to actual small streamers who are struggling, who are suffering from almost suffering from congestive heart failure, who have parents or like grandparents who are suffering from cancer, or from dogs who really need that really need some assistance when it comes to dealing with the veterinarian and whatnot. I mean, the fact that a lot of people will hop onto big streamers, give them money, but ignore the small streamers and be like, for 4 years I can finally do this, and I can do it with a smile on my face, no regrets. Doesn't always pay to be with the big top dogs, now does it? It never does. And every time I see my friends and acquaintances do it, I just look at them. And now, and what I predicted would happen, happened. I said, oh, every time these motherfuckers want to ban, block, disrespect me and whatnot, I'm like, oh, their day is coming. And when it happens, and then they're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. And I'm just sitting here and I'm just like, yeah, karma is a motherfucking bitch. It really is. See, while everyone's crying and siding with Iron Mouse or whatnot, I'm in the middle. Because if I interview Iron Mouse and answer those hard hitting questions, I guarantee you, she probably would have something to do with it as well. They all do. You cannot tell me for the life of me, right, that when you work for a corporation like Vshojo, right, an agency, that you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. Now, I will admit, when it comes to money laundering, like, no one really knows how that happens, but you could just tell. If all of a sudden, you are getting paid a little bit more than usual, you might want to question that. Just a little bit. You might want to, do a little inside research and be like, well, why is it that I'm getting paid more? Why is it that my friends aren't getting a lot of attention? Now, I want to go ahead and shout out a streamer that's worth shouting out. Two of them, actually, in the Hololive. That's Shia Bun, and that's Buff Pup. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you my experience. Shia Bun actually saved me, right, when I typed something in their chat. And, oh, yeah, there was this one streamer who misinterpreted what I said and tried to dogpile me. But Shia Bun, being the Chad that they are, actually told them, stop your nonsense, and saved me. Guess what? I gave them a tier 2 and tier 3 sub. That happened back, what was it, in 2022. Ironic. That's when I was, treated like a prisoner in Iron Mouse Discord server. Iron Mouse Discord server is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen in my entire life. I get why the mods do what they have to do, but the way how they treat people is ridiculous. Treating people like drones, or how to talk, like, oh, salutations, how you doing? It didn't feel natural. And when they kicked me from that server for inactivity, I was like, thank the Lord Jesus. Because I did not enjoy my time in that server. And to that mod, karma is something else, isn't it? Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, wow, you're talking like you're bitter. No, I'm talking like someone that told y'all so. Because you see, I've been telling young folks this for a while, that you do not always try to follow the big dogs, the big cats, whatever you call them, because every time you do, when stuff like this happens, they're nowhere to be found. They'll keep you on the red. Or what some of them will do, just to spite the corporation that they work for, is that they'll come up with their own agency because of the money that they made from them. And then all of a sudden, years later, lawsuits. Don't believe me? Do your research. I have no ill will towards Iron Mouse. I have no ill will towards Severia. I have no ill will towards everyone. But I will say this about every single one of them. Every single one of them needed an ego check. Because their egos, the more they got bigger, it was out of control. Every time I tried to go into their chats, it was a nightmare. Couldn't talk, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything without a mod breathing down your neck. It was tiring. Had to unfollow Iron Mouse, follow or unfollow, because of guilt and whatnot. And you know what? Now, it don't even matter anymore. And the thing is, I don't understand why these big top dog Vshojo streamers even give a damn. Because they already made their money. All they got to do now is just keep streaming. And they'll still get their thousand views. They'll still, get their recognition. All they gotta do is just keep it pushing. That's it. So technically speaking, Vshojo may be dead, but the streamer's already made and they can pretty much do their own thing now. The only ones that are worried about it are the ones that probably have something to do with it in secret and don't realize it, or act as if, oh, we didn't know that there was money missing from the charity. I waited 4 years. You hear me? 4 years. I have been doing my research on Vshojo and Hololive for a long time in secret. Like I said, before I started VTubing, right, under the moniker of a name that I don't want to state because I really don't like that name anymore, I did my research. What a VTuber is, what they do, what their whole point is, how they entertain, all of this. And oh my goodness, it made me sick to my stomach how easy it was to attract people just to get money from them, especially for those who are struggling with, mental and medical diseases. It honestly, made me think back like, wait a minute, is this a scam? Because it's funny because the first thing that popped in my mind with Vshojo was exclusive. Because when my friends would tell me, "Oh, well, you gotta be a human, you gotta do this," and man, 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 nah, 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 nah. So in other words, they would have looked at me as a furry and brony and said, "Fuck you, get the fuck out of here." Now it would have been even more interesting because me being black and whatnot, if they said that to me, like, "Get the fuck out of here." Nah, nah, you ain't welcome. Because when you look at this picture, right, on TikTok, like if you're on TikTok, you see any black VTubers on here? Any Indian? Any Chinese? No, you don't. Because it's an exclusive clique that wants to disguise itself as, oh, we are for diversity. And Nutaku talked about this too in a way, where he was like, where are the dudes? You don't see any dudes on the front line of this. Only women with big busts and they have long hair. Going backwards on all the whole women empowerment bullshit. Yeah, Vshojo was a disease. They weren't doing anything to promote change or diversity or whatnot. They were simply there just to get gooners to give these streamers money. Now, for some of them, I get it because of their medical conditions and whatnot. Like I said, Iron Mouse, as I predicted before back in the day, was going to be the Hulk Hogan of the streamers. Just like John Cena was going to be the next Hulk Hogan. She was going to be the ringleader. Some folks thought it was going to be Silverdale. Some folks thought it was going to be Zentria. And I would have looked at them and said, you're a bunch of fools. You need to pay close attention to who they're trying to push. See, everyone likes to make fun of pro wrestling and whatnot, but if you really pay attention to it, pro wrestling is a lot more political, and a lot of people tend to emulate pro wrestling more than you think. You got a big roster, you got certain people who are pushed, and certain people who are down below. Because I'm telling you right now, if you were to look through all of these Vshojos, the one on my TikTok channel, can you name at least all of them to me in less than 10 seconds? Maybe 5, maybe 6, but I guarantee there's probably going to be 2 or 3 or 4 that you don't even know. See, the reason why I say Hololive is next is because the top streamer, the top VTuber, right? Gone. Gora Gora. But the funny thing is, Gora Gora, anytime you want to, you could just simply start streaming. You'll get your million views. Hatsumiku, my opinion, if she ever starts streaming, well, there you go. She got a million views. She could pretty much destroy Vshojo and destroy Hololive just like that. Someone who I feel actually represents, freedom for the women, LGBTQ and whatnot. Vshojo doesn't represent that. Look at the body types of these women. Look at the same with Hololive. Where's the male representation? Where's the black representation? It doesn't exist. But yet, oh, here you go. Here's a little application form. Fill it out, and maybe, just maybe you may get in. all that, you gotta pay this much money for a mic. You gotta pay this much money for this. They did it with the furry streamers. No, side topic. They did it with furry streamers. Oh, you gotta get full body tracking. That's $1,000. You gotta get the latest PC, the latest speakers. Just so you can make a what? A measly $1,000 if you're lucky. $10,000. Maybe get some game companies to actually kiss. Game companies that could come around you and you have to lick their boots. I get it. It's all business as usual. I have not met a single Vshojo streamer that gave a damn about me. But if anything, they had no problems parroting furries, parroting bronies, and oh, just like that one streamer, that one black VTuber streamer. Shout out to him, by the way. Exposed some of them for being racist. Ooh, look at that. Discriminatory. And if you really want to get even darker with this, how some of these characters kind of look like a chibi. Again, that's you. As long as they're an adult, but it's like, thank goodness that this piece of shit agency is dead. And I wish the best for all the other streamers. They really shouldn't have to mourn for a piece of shit agency. All they have to do is just simply just grind. They will still have their millions of viewers, their 100,000 viewers. All they got to do is just put in that work. That's it. That's all they got to do. But see, the agency pays them a little bit more money. So now they got to go back. Because see, they got their followers. They got their simps. What are they worried about? If anyone should be angry and frustrated about Vshojo closing, it's the ones who busted their back in and out and that were barely even recognized. The ones that you don't even see on promotional boards. The ones that you never even heard of. The ones who actually did things right. The ones that are actually, truthful, that don't sell their soul. Those are the ones that I feel that should be upset. The ones who never got 1 ounce of recognition. Never got a chance to show off their singing skills. Never got a chance to show off what they can do. Because that's just corporate for you. Let's only focus on the top 10 and leave the rest behind to do the back, the back work. You know what I mean? The background characters, the secondary, the ones that don't matter. The ones that give the big streamers ideas. And of course they'll say stuff like, "Oh well, I just it's just a pleasure for me to work for Vshojo." And now look, dead. And I couldn't be any happier. Now let me go ahead and tell you my reasons for why I cannot stand either Hololive or Vshojo. Now, this one goes to Vshojo. Liars. I love you guys. I love you. This you. Fucking liars. Some of them I could tell they truly care, but then there's most of them I can just look and be like, sure you love your fans. Sure you love them. Yeah, sure you love them. $500,000. How in the fuck does $500,000 go missing? Money don't go missing. Money just don't go missing like that. You understand me? Now, if the story was like, oh, someone hacked us, I'd be like, you know what? This stream wouldn't even exist. It would be like, you know what? Cool, but I still got my eye on you. The CEO himself literally stated, yeah, I mishandled the money. I'm sorry. What a piece of garbage. You hear me? Mr. Gun, you need to repent. Seriously. You are your actions are trash. I already talked about only focus on the top 10, which will forever get on my nerves with any company. Did you know that there's a lot of VTubers from both Hololive and Vshojo that retired? Oh, they're here and then they retire. Oh, they're here and then they retire. Oh, there's a new one that comes up and then you don't hear from them again. Oh, here's a new one that attracts the gooners and then they're gone. 1 year gone, 2 years gone, maybe 5 months some drama happens, gone. I already talked about the no diversity part. I'm not gonna get into that. I already talked about how they denied so many applicants. But the one thing that will forever get on my nerves when it comes to these agencies and when especially like Vshojo, rest in piss by the way. Barely any room for community growth. Barely, I've talked about this already. Barely any room for these VTubers to grow, to learn from their mistakes, to have training sessions. No, because they're just background characters. When you go into these folks' streams, you always will see how the attention is mostly on the stream, which that's the thing. But then you got the other streamers in the background that you don't even know. How I know this? Because I would be a part of these streams, right? Like some of these streams, like especially those that just happen to be big or whatever, not even realize it. And I would just put my little pointer, right, in VR chat, streamer, 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 streamer. There was one streamer and I'm gonna keep anonymous because they are actually a good person. And they do this within reason because they have dealt with people who disrespect them. So understandable, but still, what? Who literally was like, if your bio mentions anything about being a streamer, you will be banned from their streams. You will be banned from their Discord. I thought this was the most ridiculous rule I have ever seen. But then it hit me. This was a learned behavior from pieces of crap higher ups from Vshojo and Hololive that taught these streamers this type of behavior. Stomp on the little man just so you could be the big top dog and be mentioned on TV and whatnot. You want to know who else who did that? Even though he did some good things? Terry Boella. Unreal. I'm already getting frustrated talking about Vshojo. So, but the fact of the matter is that none of these agencies, right? They offer you training, but they don't offer you enough training so these streamers can actually get where they need to be. This goes for the furry community. This goes for the brony community. It's you're on your own. You either deal with the top dogs or get left behind. This delusional behavior from these streamers is sickening to me. You should be grateful. You should be grateful. Oh, I'm grateful that people do not like me in the streaming platform anymore. I'm grateful for every ban block that I get. Because let me tell you something. I would never want to be a part of a piece of shit, discriminatory, and probably a somewhat racist agency known as Vshojo. And of course, they're not like that. Yeah, just like WWE doesn't have any racist undertones either. Wink, wink. Now, Hololive. Now I'm gonna go back to the streamer that I do like the most, next to Chia Bun, Buff Pup. Now Buff Pup almost got in, almost made a silly mistake with the whole doll pile of me, but she backed off immediately. So that was good. She used her noodle, unlike the other streamer. She actually used her noodle. She was the only quote unquote big streamer that actually acknowledged me. Because I was the pony and I was in her stream. She actually was singing My Little Pony. That's cool. But the one streamer that I will never ever forget is Nuts Taku. Nuts Taku is someone that I look up to. I consider a senpai, consider a mentor. I've learned so much from this man, and he's all about his business. If anybody deserves to be successful when it comes to the VTuber, and like that whole live 2D VTuber spectrum, it's Nuts Taku, Shy Bun, and Buff Pup. And you all know that Shy Lily was just there just to compete with Iron Mouse, right? And if you don't know this, then you're definitely young and don't really understand how business works. You shouldn't be talking about this, you should just let it go. Nah, because everyone else is either empathetic towards Vshojo, empathetic towards the big streamers, not the small streamers that got fucked over by this agency, by the way. Not the followers who got fucked over, right? The ones who never got a single thank you or shout out. Yeah. Let's just feel sorry for the big streamers, the one that had all this money. Cry for the rich when they won't even cry for you when your time's up. Crazy. Now there was a video, right, from a black individual who I definitely like. Now there's some parts where I'm like, whoa, you're out of pocket here. He goes by the name of New Wrestling World. This is his YouTube channel, and he made a incredibly out of pocket um, video about Hulk Hogan, Turboella. It's how you react to it is how you react to it. It blew me away. I had to rewatch this video over 6, 7 times because I was like, wow, I cannot believe that someone would be this cold towards a legend. That's when I started looking up Terry Boella. Not Hulk Hogan, Terry Boella. And I was like, oh. See, it was bigger than the whole racist, rants they went on. It was the amount of lies and how he tried to bury people, put them under the bus because he still wanted to be the immortal Hulk Hogan. He never grew up. Age 70, still acting like he was in his 20s and 30s, living that American dream, and he didn't even know what it truly meant to be in America. His views on it was flawed. That right there is very concerning to me. Very concerning to me. And it's like, and I always wonder when I was young, like when I was a teenager and a young adult, like my 20s, I was like, why are people talking about Hulk Hogan like this? Why are they doing this? And I would say the same thing when it came to Vshojo. Man, why is everybody picking on Iron Mouse? Why is everybody picking on this, man? Like, just leave alone. Yeah. And then when you get older and when you learn more about how this life works, you're like, oh, yeah. And that corporate structured letter of, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't know where the money went. Yeah, you did. You're the fucking CEO. You know where that money went. But now you got costs, so now you ain't got no choice but to pay some of it back. But don't worry, you're gonna pocket some of it. It's just like when Vincent Kenny McMahon, right? When he got quote unquote released from WWE, but blacklisted for WWE. Yeah, he still owns stock and he's still making money. That's what I'm saying, man. Everyone always told us, oh, it's fiction. Oh, this stuff is fiction. Oh, these graphic novels. Yeah, pay close attention to it because there's some political undertones that need to be questioned, that need to be discussed. You know, and definitely pay close attention to The Boys season 5 because you best believe that there's gonna be possibly maybe a little dedication to Terry Bollea himself, right? Maybe just a little bit. You know what I mean? If you catch my drift. I am not sad about what happened with Vshojo. I predicted that this was going to happen. Honestly, I just predicted that they would just go under because people got sick and tired of the whole, Desu, Konnichiwa, and all of that. People would just got sick and tired of it. Now, wait a minute. You're out of pocket. You said there's no Mexican representation. Iron Mouse is technically, Mexican and blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Where are the other Mexican streamers beside her? Because all I see, the math isn't mathing. You know what I mean? It really isn't. And I know what I'm saying. You're not liking it. You're pissed off. You're angry. But I don't care because Vshojo is dead. And if they try to come back, I promise you, it's not going to be the same. Every company that tries to come back from the grave usually does not get the same popular reception. And if they do, it is a miracle. It is a miracle. Once a company is done, they're done. It's already been announced. Vshojo shut down. And that's when I said, it's time. It's time to spill the beans. It really is. It's time. I have been collecting this information about my experiences for way too long, and it's time. And it's sad because I don't even have to be a part of Vshojo to know how much of a piece of shit that the corporate heads were. I could just look at it right here from afar and be like, wow. Now, if I was a part of this, you best believe that this would have probably been a longer stream. Really breaking down how much of a piece of garbage they are. See, while everyone else is being nice, I'm going to be like that YouTuber from New Wrestling World Order, just tell like it is. Be professional, but be real. Vshojo was always a terrible company. They never cared about you. They damn sure didn't care about those streamers. They only cared about the money. And if you still don't want to believe that, live in La La Land. Live in La La Land. That Terry Boella, the immortal Hulk Hogan, was always just this perfect good person. Keep living in La La Land. That's on you. I'm not living in La La Land. I'm not delusional. I'm going to tell like it is, because that's just who I am. And if you don't like it, you can leave. I told you, new direction here on this channel. And if TikTok has something to say, I got many other platforms. So good luck. Now, some of you are probably saying, oh, but I like Vshojo. That's fine. Like I said, live in La La Land. I'm not going to be in La La Land with you anymore. Because this company is dead. They're gone. Good riddance. Fuck Vshojo. Fuck the supposed, facts and their lies. Talk about, oh, we support and love charity. Fuck their whole slogan of, oh, we are streamers first, talent first. Bunch of liars. And fuck their mods for disrespecting the people that just want to support them. Yeah, I spit in the grave of Vshojo. And Hololive, if you don't learn from Vshojo, you're next. You better take notes. You better do everything in your power to make sure that that doesn't happen to you, because you're already on thin ice with some people, right? You really are. And you Vshojo big top dog streamers, I would suggest that you watch your motherfucking mouths and you show a little bit more humility for the people who were there for you in the first place. Let this be a learning lesson that just because you're a big top dog, don't ever think that you can't fall. Don't believe me? Why don't you ask Mr. Terry Boella himself? The immortal Hulk Hogan. Because Terry Boella, you next. I already got my notes and everything for the next stream. Because we're going to be talking about the pros and cons of Hulk Hogan and Terry Boella. And this ain't going to be me disrespecting either or. It's just going to be being honest. Now, Vshojo, they're a company. I can disrespect them. They have no soul. They never had a soul. They were simply there to make money. Didn't give a fuck about the charity. Didn't give a fuck about the talent. And sure as hell didn't give a fuck about the people that support them. Because they did, they would have took that money that they stolen and gave it back to those charities tenfold. Nah, they're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. So I say it once, I'll say it again. And this is from your naturally born hated Virgo. And I am not sorry for what I'm about to say. Fuck Vshojo. And Hololive, if you don't get it together, you're next.